So today we did complete theory and we worked extremely hard. Sometimes you have to go back to the basics. And that's what we did today in our class, our adult music, your best choice, RFMFS class. So here is a review of just taking it back to the basics in our theory. So we were naming notes today. We talked about the left hand, which really, okay, this is the bass clef we're talking about here. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the left hand, but we'll get into that at a later date. Talked about just basically the backdrop of the staff. The first line, well, it has a second line here, which is a B. And if you go line, space, well, it's in order of the notes on the piano or any other instrument. So if this is a B, that's a line. Its next space is a C. The next line is a D. The next space is an E, and on. F, G, A, B, C, D. Get into some ledger lines, and E. We know middle C always has that one line through it. That's a great point of reference, okay? But I also really like to get into mnemonic devices as a guide. Not something to depend on, but a guide. It gives you an accurate balance, checks, balances here. That mnemonic devices and patterns is my favorite. Patterns is my favorite. What do I mean by mnemonic devices? For the bass clef, the mnemonic device would be good boys do fine always for lines. For spaces would be all cows eat grass. Okay, so how does that work? So the first line, good boys. Boys starts with a B, so that is a B. But this is in a space, right? On that staff, staves, as you call it, plural, have 5 lines and 4 spaces, okay? So that second space, all cows, that's a C, okay? Good boys do, that's a D. All cows eat, that's an E. Notice it's going in order. Now, why is that important to me? Why do I always make a big deal? Because once I see a pattern, oftentimes I don't have to put that much thought process into it. And that helps with the fluidity in your sight reading as well. Well, let's look at the pattern. Good boys, that's a B, right? Well, when you have line, space, the notes are in order, just like they were up here. So what does that mean? Good boys, B. Okay, but it's line, space, so I know it's B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. It's ascending, okay? Same with the second one, okay? We could do the good boys, that's a B. Good boys do, that's a D. Good boys do fine. But when I see all lines and all spaces in order like this, I know that they're skipping instead of stepping like they were up here. So I know that that's a B, good boys, B. Well, what's the skipping note? Good boys do fine. Good boys do fine always. G, B, D, A. There's your middle C. And then you go up from that C. If you skip up, C, D, E would be where that first ledger line is. So that's C to E. What does that look like on the piano? Let's look. We've got the B. Let me turn this back on to turn it back up. There we go. Okay, so I'm playing it with my right hand. So how about I play with my left hand? For the sake of, making sense here. And we're at a lower B. Okay, so it would be good boys, skipping D, F, skip A, skip to middle C, skip to E that came up into the territory of the middle C, treble clef area. That's why that ledger line is there. Is that making sense? I know, it gets a little crazy. And then, so that's what we were doing here. Even with spaces, the same thing. It's skipping. So it's starting all cows. That's a C. That's an E. That's a G. That's a B. That's a high D with the ledger line. Comes back down to the B. Goes back up to the D. Goes back down to the B. Comes back down. So those things are important in sight reading. And you want to compare and see, make sure that it all, you can go to a prior lesson and say, okay, well, I see that this is a D. Is that what it was before? Let me look up here. Okay, that's a D. Okay? Just to check yourself. Because oftentimes when you're practicing music, you're doing it solo. it's independently, okay? Then we went to the chord symbols, okay? We know that that's a G chord, a C chord. You know, we just write G, C. So what was fun too on the bottom part of page 66 was we were writing the name, but these make words. So we came up with C, A. These are two B's, right? That's an A, that's a G, and that's a high E, cabbage, okay? So that was fun, you know, and it kind of shows that, you know, you're on the money, that you're doing it correctly. And then writing for the right hand, the mnemonic devices change. And we're still talking about the letter lines here. Look, there's your middle C, but right below is a B. So put that little extra line to indicate that the staff is extending to more lines. That's how we can validate naming those notes certain notes. It still has to have that formula of spaces and lines. Okay, so with that being said, we have different mnemonic devices for the right hand, or treble clef, because you know sometimes doesn't necessarily mean you're going to play your right hand just because it's a treble clef. All right, every good boy does fine is for lines, and for spaces is face. The word face, F-A-C-E. Here's your middle C right there. See that? That's a great point of reference as well. So let's look here. Every is E, face is F. Every good, that's a G. F-A, that's an A. Every good boy is a B. F-A-C, that's a C. And it's all in order, which gets back to patterns. It's space line, space line, space line, space line. So that's a B, because it's a ledger line. It comes before that middle C. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and it keeps going on and on, okay? Spaces, that's a B, D, F, A, C, E. Look, F-A-C-E, face, remember? Back down to C, back down to A, back down to F. Look at the patterns, but they're skipping. What does that look like? Sorry, y'all, I'm trying to work the piano here. I'm in a low B, okay? So it would be, okay? Interesting, huh? And then last we talked about the chords. Now, this could be confusing because it's supposed to be for the right hand, correct? But look at here. You've got the G chord, but we have the broken G chord. So the right hand, the chords are broken. The left hand is playing the block chords. That's a G chord, block, but G, B, D. That's a broken G chord. So we would put G right here. This one's kind of partially broken. It's a G and then a C, E, and a C, E. G, C, E, block chord. So C, that would be a C chord. Okay? And on and on. So that's what we've been working on, and it's getting kind of interesting because we've been playing this music, but we need to get back to the basics as well when it comes to music. So happy practicing.